والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. قال المصنف رحمه الله تعالى إمام ابن الحجر العسقلاني رحمه الله في كتابه بلوغ المرام من أدلة الأحكام حديث number 322 في باب صلاة الجمعة وإمامة. نعم. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Last video it was very. Can you check the volume? Yeah. وعن زيد بن ثابت رضي الله تعالى عنه قال: احتجر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حجرة مخصفة فصلى فيها فتتبع إليه رجال وجاءوا يصلون بصلاته. الحديث فيه أفضل صلاة المرء في بيته إلا المكتوبة متفق عليه. This hadith is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made a small place in Masjid-e, a small separate place away from where he used to lead the prayers, where he kept a separate mat, and there he used to perform some nawafil prayers. Another wording, it says that أفضل صلاة المرء في بيته إلا المكتوبة. The best prayers for a man, the best prayers for a man are the prayers which are in their house, except for the obligatory prayers. So when it comes to obligatory prayers, as we are discussing, we have to perform in the jama'ah, in the masjid. But when it comes to the nawafil or the sunnah prayers, it is better that you perform those prayers in your houses, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that لا تجعلوا بيوتكم قبورا. Do not make your houses as the graveyards. So by reciting, by worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by prostrating, by making ruku, what happens? The Allah's barakah will descend in the houses. But sometimes what happens, if you are at workplace or if you are busy, then what you can perform in the masjid. There is no problem in performing in the masjid. But what is better is to perform at houses. Some people also have this kind of, laziness, for example. They are good when they perform sunnah nawafil in the masjid. So once they go home, they might probably feel lazy. They might think, okay, after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, after 15 minutes, until the time goes away, and they won't perform. So in that case, if he fears that he is going to miss his nawafil prayers, sunnah prayers, after the salah in the house, then let him pray in the masjid, inshallah ta'ala. That's the ruling. Hadith number 323. وعن جابر رضي الله تعالى عنه قال: صلى معاذ بأصحابه العشاء فطول عليهم فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أتريد أن تكون يا معاذ فتانا إذا أممت الناس فاقرأ بالشمس والضحاها وسبح اسم ربك الأعلى واقرأ باسم ربك والليل إذا يغشى متفق عليه ولفظ للمسلم. الله أكبر. Jabir radiallahu anhu, he says that once Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he addressed Mu'adh radiallahu anhu. صلى معاذ بأصحابه العشاء. Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, he led the prayers for some of the companions in the Isha prayers. What Mu'adh radiallahu anhu used to do is, he used to perform along with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. After that, he used to go to another masjid and he used to lead the prayers. One thing what we understand here is that he has already prayed what is obligatory upon him. Now if he is praying in the other masjid, or if he is leading in the other masjid, that is nawafil for him. So his niyyah is nawafil, but the people who are praying behind him is the niyyah of the obligatory. So there is no problem in leading the prayers. Some of the ulama, they say that no, you can't, a person who is leading the nawafil can't lead the obligatory prayers. This is the opinion of Hanabila, but majority of the scholars they say, and we have a clear proof from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu used to lead he used to read the prayers behind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Later he used to go and lead the prayers. Once what happens, فَطَوَّلَ عَلَيْهِمْ, what he used to do is, he used to prolong the prayers. Once this particular incident happened, that Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu, who was leading Isha, a Sahabi comes inside. And Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu, when he started the surah, this Sahabi who was praying behind Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu, he left the prayers. He went back, he prayed by himself, then he left. Somebody informed Mu'adh that such and such person did like this. Then Mu'adh said, verily he is a munafiq. Hypocrite. When this man came to know that Mu'adh called him munafiq, he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam complaining about Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu. And who is Mu'adh? You know that who is Mu'adh? Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu is from among the scholars among the companions. Umar radiyallahu anhu, he says that alamuna bil harami wal halali Mu'adh. The one who knows more about the haram and halal is Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in one of the hadith, yes, أن المؤاد يأتي يوم القيامة. Mu'adh will come on the day of judgment. ويسبقون العلماء برحق. And he'll be far ahead of the scholars, far ahead of the scholars. For an example, if you throw a stone, as long as the stone goes and falls, that far distance he will be in the darajat in Jannah. Allahumma musta'an. This is Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu. And Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu, Abdul bin Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he says that, and there is an ayah in the Quran, Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan qanitan lillahi hanifa. This ayah. What is the meaning of the ayah? Inna Ibrahim kana ummah. Ibrahim alayhi salam is a ummah, and the one who is obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The word ummah here means leader. Normally what we know ummah is the community, group of people. But ummah means there are four kinds of meaning. One of the meanings of ummah is the leader, the one who is leading, the ummah, the imam. Once Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he said, Inna Mu'adh kana ummatan qanitan lillah. So one of the persons along with him who was sitting him, he said that, Ya Mu'adh, Ya Ibn Mas'ud, verily you have recited this verse wrong. Allah says, Inna Ibrahim kana ummah. Then Abdullah bin Mas'ud says, verily I did not make any mistake. For us, Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu is a leader for us, ummah. That was the status of whom? Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu among the companions. And he called one person munafiq. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam called him and said, Ya Mu'adh, aturidu an takuna Mu'adh fatana. Do you want to become fitna for the people? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam tells whom? Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu. Why? The reason here is that Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu, he used to prolong the prayers. And it is not from the sunnah that you prolong the prayers and make difficult behind those who are praying. And further he said, إِذَا أَمَمْتَ النَّاسِ, and if you are leading, if you are imam in the congregation, then recite some of the verses like وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا and سَبِّحِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ الْعَلَى, Surah Al-Ala, or recite وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى. These are small surahs. It doesn't take more than 2 minutes to recite the surah, entire surah, isn't it? So make things easy for those who are praying. Do not prolong long prayers. Allahumma musta'an. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam rebuked Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu, and we know just now we told that Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu was from among the scholars, among the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. So what about those people who are leading the prayers long, making things difficult? And this is not from the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when it comes to, this ruling applies when it comes to the obligatory prayers. Because there are people among the Mu'min, those who are standing behind the Imam, who are weak, who are old. There are women who are breastfeeding the child, and there are people who they have some need to attend. So make the salah very short. And this is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if you are praying alone, recite Surah Al-Baqarah, recite Surah Imran, Surah An-Nisa in one rak'ah, la basa bih. There is no problem. But you can't do that in congregational prayer. So imams of the masajid, they have to keep in the mind that make things easy for the people who are praying behind you. Now, let's go to the hadith number 324. وعن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها في قصة صلاة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بالناس وهو مريض. قالت فجاء حتى جلس عن يساره أبي بكر فكان يصلي بالناس جالسا وأبو بكر قائما يقتدي أبو بكر بصلاة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ويقتدي الناس بصلاة أبي بكر متفق عليه. Very important hadith. It's a very important hadith, and there is a lot of mas'ala in this hadith. There's a lot of masail in this hadith. Aisha radiallahu anha, she says that about what happened to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was very sick at the end of his life. At the end of his life, for about 5 to 6 days, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had extremely high fever. He was not able to get up. He gets up, he falls down. He gets up, he falls unconscious. He was not able to lead the prayers. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to lead the prayers. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to lead the prayers. When Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was leading the prayers, then comes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in between when he was feeling good. So he comes to the Jama'ah and he comes and stands at the left side of the Abu Bakr. That means now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is taking charge of the Imamah. The Abu Bakr goes a little back. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sits down and he leads the prayers. Sits down and he leads the prayer. You got my point. There are a few things that we need to mention inshallah ta'ala here. This hadith, before going to the mas'ala, I want to talk something about aqidah here. This hadith is a raddun ala Shia. This hadith is an refutation of the Shia. The Shia, they say that Imam Ali deserves the Khilafah before Abu Bakr and Umar. Abu Bakr and Umar radiyallahu anhuma, they forcefully took the Khilafah of Ali radiyallahu anhu. لو كان عليا أفضل من أبو بكر وعمر, if Ali radiyallahu anhu was better than Ali, Abu Bakr and Umar, لقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have asked him to lead the Jama'ah, ayyum an-nas, but he asked Abu Bakr to lead the prayers. This is known as istikhlaf. Istikhlaf, one of the things in the salah is istikhlaf, means if the imam is not there, then he will appoint somebody else to lead in his place. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam found Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu befitting to lead the Jama'ah. Number one. Once what happened, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sick and it was time for the prayers. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told, go and find Abu Bakr and ask him to lead the prayers. When he went to the masjid and we searched everywhere, he didn't find Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. Then he found he found Umar radiallahu anhu. Then he asked Umar radiallahu anhu to lead the prayers. When Umar radiallahu anhu led the prayers, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to know that Abu Bakr did not lead the prayers, Umar radiallahu anhu led the prayers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, Allah did not accept that. Allah did not accept that. When Abu Bakr is present, Umar cannot lead. Allahu Akbar. This is a refutation on the Shia. Shia, they claim بمنزلة أن موسى بمنزلة موسى هارون ومنزلة محمد لعلي أن علي لمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Like how Musa alayhi salam, Harun is for as a brother, as a wasi, for Musa alayhi salam, Ali radiallahu an is for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and they take this hadith and they use this hadith and they refute and they abuse Sahaba radiallahu anhum. La'natullahi alayhim. Ru'usahum. Al-ulama'uhum. When we say, may Allah curse these people, I'm not cursing those laymen among them. Those people who create fitna and brought this kind of fitna and bid'ah and innovation, shirkiyah into the religion of Islam. So this is a refutation upon the Shia. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to lead the prayers, and Abu Bakr is leading radiallahu anhu. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes. He comes on the left side, he stands. So now Abu Bakr knows that Rasul is going to take the charge. He goes a little back. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sits. Abu Bakr stands beside him, just on the right side. And the people behind him, all of them will be standing. Now the mas'ala is that if the Imam is sick, and if he sits in the beginning of the prayers and lead the prayer sitting, all the people behind him will be sitting. If the Imam is standing, then all the people behind him will be standing. If the Imam is standing and in between he became sick, tired, and if he sits, all the people behind him will be standing. Got my point? This is the rule, inshallah ta'ala. Another mas'ala what we understand from the hadith is that if the Imam who leads the prayers, he comes to the masjid, he has the right to take over the imamah from the person who is leading. This is one of the examples. But this should not happen every time. Every time Imam coming late and he's taking the position. Okay, that's not the way. That's not the case here. In certain cases, Imam says, you lead the prayers, if I come, then I will take the lead. And he has the right to take the lead. Imam has the right to take the lead. Am I clear? So these are the mas'ala that we need to understand from this hadith. Another thing is that, what we can understand from the hadith is that the Imam will not stand on the right side of the musalli. The Imam will be standing at the left side and people will be standing at the right side. And when the saf starts, the row starts from the right, not from the left. The only standing on the left, it's not valid. You can make only on the right, it is valid. Or what is better is make right then make left together. That is how it is. Now this is about first saf. What about the second saf? The second saf will start from the between, not from the rear end of the row. It will start from the mid. Once I went to one of the masajids, I was the only one standing and I see people coming and joining there. I told, come stand here. Start from here. لأن الصف يبدأ من وسط الصف. Verily the saf will start between the saf. That's when the saf starts, not from the rear ends of the in the masjid. Am I clear about this? So with this we understand that Imam has all the rights to come and take over the responsibility, Imamah. Now, Hadith number 325. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا أما أحدكم الناس فليخفف فإن فيهم الصغير والكبير والضعيف وذا الحاجة فإذا صلى وحده فليصلي كيف شاء متفق عليه. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, and this hadith is narrated by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. And this hadith is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim, authentic hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says that إِذَا أَمَّا أَحَدُكُمُ النَّاسَ, and if you are leading, if you are imam, or if you are leading the prayers for the people, فَلْيُخَافِفْ, then make your prayers lighter. Make your prayers light. فَإِنَّ فِيهِمُ الصَّغِيرُ وَالْكَبِيرُ وَالضَّعِيفُ وَذَا الْحَاجَةِ. Verily among them are those who are small children. Small children. Among them there are old people. Among them there are who are weak. Among them there are people who has needs to fulfill. When it comes to children, how does it matter? For example, if a child come to the masjid Children, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, they come to the masjid. Their mind is always playful. Okay? And if you lead the prayers long, what happens? He will not come for the next prayers. He will not come for the next prayers. So make it short. This is the hikmah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you make it shorter, what happens? The children will come again. But if you make it long, what happens? They will not come. This is with the children. I am talking even the elders. They know that which masjid is shorter, they will go to that masjid. If the masjid, the imam is leading long prayers, they will not go there. The imam is leading short prayers, people, that's a natural tendency of a human being that they will go there. Even though it's a worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is it clear? That's a natural tendency of human being. That's what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says here. Wal kabiru, among them there are who are elderly people. Elderly people, you know, with great difficulty they come to the masjid. With great difficulty they go back. Sometimes they have problems, sometimes they can't sit long, sometimes they can't stand long. So make it easy upon them. And among them are marid. There are some people who are sick, but yet they come. There are some people sick, the temporary sickness, there is permanent sickness. There are some people, they want to come to the masjid. They want to come to jama'ah and pray, and they're sick. For them, it will be easy if you make it lighter. And one more important point in this hadith is wadal hajjah. And take care of those people who are in need. Need in the sense, who has to attend their need. For example, you might be going along with the family on a drive, or you went to the market and you tell them, you stay here, I'll finish my prayers and come back. Okay? So Imam has to keep in the mind that the masjid is a place where different kinds of people come to the masjid. Travelers will come to the masjid. Those who are passing by will come to the masjid. There are women who come to the masjid. There are children who come to the masjid. There are people who leave the job and come to the masjid. There are people who leave the meetings and come to the masjid. There are people who leave the business and come to the masjid. Different varieties of human beings come to the masjid. And if you are prolonging the prayers, their need will not be taken care of. So if you lighten the prayers, what happens? They get the need and they get the prayers as well. Look at the hikmah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Which religion teaches all these things? Which religion? I do not know of any religion which teaches. Believe one thing keep in the mind. If any religion is making qiyas, making the worship difficult, that is not a religion. Islam does not make the worship difficult upon us. Allah is not making things burden upon us. What Allah says in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ حَرَجٍ. Verily we have not made our religion tough upon you. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرِ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرِ. Allah does not want to make the deen difficult upon you, but Allah wants to make religion easy upon you. When Allah wants, the creator of us, for the purpose that He has created us, that is worship, when Allah is making the ibadah, that is worshipping Him, easy, then who are you to make things difficult upon the believers? This is a point that we need to understand. Allah is merciful, yes or no? وَهُوَ Rahim, وَهُوَ Rahman, yes or no? That's why He sent a Rahim to the world. Who is that? وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He is a Rahim. He sent as a mercy to the mankind. So it is not befitting that you make things difficult for the humankind. Allah, this religion of Islam is very, very easy. Inna ad-deena yusr. Really, this religion of Islam is very easy. So when you are leading the prayers, keep in the mind there are many varieties of people who are standing behind you, and make the prayers lighter. And if you are, the further wordings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this hadith is that فَإِذَا صَلَّ وَحْدَهُ فَلْيُصَلِّي كَيْفَ شَاءَ. And if you are praying alone, pray however you want. Make ruku longer, make sujood longer, make qira'ah longer, make qiyam longer, no matter what. You can make as you wish. But when you are leading the prayers, make it light. Hadith number 326. وعن عمرو بن سلمة قال أبي جئتكم من عند النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حقا قال فإذا حضرت الصلاة فليؤذن أحدكم فَلْيَؤُمَّكُمْ أَكْثَرُكُمْ قُرْآنًا قَالَ فَنَذَرُوا فَلَمْ يَكُنْ أَحَدٌ أَكْثَرَ مِنِّي قُرْآنًا فَقَدَّمُونِي وَأَنَا ابْنُ 6 أو 7 سنين. رواه البخاري وأبو داود والنسائي. Very, very important hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Amr ibn Salama radiallahu anhu, he says that my father, قال أبي, my father, جئتكم من عند النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, I have come from the true prophet. قال فإذا حضرت الصلاة, when once the time of the prayer came, فَلْيُؤَذِّنْ أَحَدُكُمْ, then one of you give the adhan. One of you give the adhan. So one of the conditions for the adhan to be valid here is, it has to be given when the salah time starts. Dukhul al-waqt. Many masajids, if you see, some of the masajids, for example, Isha is nowadays, some of them 8 o'clock. Some of the masajid 8 o'clock. And the Isha actually starts at what time? 7:50. And they give adhan 7:45. Adhan is invalid. Adhan is invalid. They have to give the adhan again. Except for Fajr. Except for Fajr. The two Fajr in the sense, in the Fajr we have two adhan normally. One adhan that is before, 1 hour before the Tulu al-Fajr, before the Fajr starts. And that adhan when the Fajr starts. That exception there. But when it comes to other prayers, if you give adhan before the time, the adhan is invalid, but the salah is valid. The adhan is invalid, rather you have to give the adhan again. So here Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the wording here, it's very clear. فَإِذَا حَضَرَتِ الصَّلَاةِ, and the time of the prayer comes, فَلْيُؤَذِّنْ أَحَدُكُمْ, then one of you should give the adhan. فَلْيَؤُمَّكُمْ أَكْثَرُكُمْ قُرْآنًا, and let the one who knows more Quran lead the prayers. One of the conditions. We'll discuss what are the things included in that. قَالَ فَنَذَرُوا, he says, and they looked for a person who can lead the prayers. فَلَمْ يَكُنْ أَحَدٌ أَكْثَرُ مِنِّي قُرْآنًا, and there were no one among the Sahaba radiallahu anhum who knows Quran more than me, and I was a kid of 6 or 7 years old. 6 or 7 years old. And they asked me to lead the prayers, and he led the prayers. Now the question arises, can a child who hasn't reached the age of puberty, bulugh, can he lead the prayers for the people who are elders behind him? Can he lead or not is the question. The ulama have got 3 opinions on this matter. The ulama has 3 opinions on this matter. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, he says that whether the child has reached the age of puberty or not, he can lead any prayers. He can lead any prayers, whether it is obligatory prayers, whether it is nawafil prayers like Taraweeh and other prayers. This is the opinion of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah based on this hadith. Another opinion of Imam Ahmad and Imam Malik, it is mentioned that only obligatory prayer should be led by a person who reached the age of puberty, but when it comes to the nawafil prayers, a boy who hasn't reached the age of puberty can lead. Am I clear? Who hasn't reached the age of puberty can lead. Got my point? He can't lead the obligatory prayers according to Imam Ahmad and Malik. According to Imam Abu Hanifa, a boy cannot lead whether it is obligatory prayers, whether it is nawafil prayers. But what is sahih from the hadith is that, you will see what is sahih from the hadith is that the hadith is not restricted to only the one who reached the age of puberty. Anybody can lead as long as that boy has more knowledge about the Quran. Is it clear? This is the opinion of this Imam Shafi'i, and this is strongest opinion. This is strongest opinion. But there are many conditions here. Many conditions. For example, the boy might be knowing more Quran, but he doesn't know the rules and regulations of the prayers. Yes or no? The rules and regulations of the prayers. So the one who knows more rules and regulations of the prayers will be leading. But this Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they led the prayers during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And obviously, Rasulullah will not come to know about this. And if the boy leading the prayers would have been wrong, obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have revealed a verse in the Quran, or he would have corrected through Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why Imam Shafi says, since Sahaba did it, Rasulullah was present at the time, so there is no issues in this, a boy leading the prayers. Imam Ahmad says, no, obligatory prayers has to be led by the person who has more knowledge. It's not about only having the hifz, not only having the hifz. The next hadith will explain in detail, inshallah. We'll go to the next hadith. Is it clear about this masala now? No. Now a boy, can he lead Jama'ah at home? A boy who did not reach the age of puberty. Those boys are known as Mumayyiz. Mumayyiz. The one who has Tamiz. The one who has Tamiz. Not Battamiz. Tamiz. The one who has Tamiz. Tamiz means the ulama, usulul fiqh, the ulama, they say that Tamiz means the one who yafhamu suwal wa yaruddul jawab. The one who understands the question and answers the question. If you go and ask a boy, this boy here, where's your father? The boy will be like, I don't know. That's the age of this boy, small boys. But there are boys between 6, 7, 8, 9. If you ask him, where is your father? He says, my father went to the market, he'll come back. He's able to understand the question and is able to answer the question. If you ask him, where's your father? He says, I don't know. This boy here, small ones. That's an example. So Tamiz, this is known as Tamiz. So Tamiz is the age from 7 to puberty. 7 to puberty. But Tamiz, that is Duna Tamiz, is from 1 to 7. 1 to 7. I'm just using this word, okay? There's no word in Usul al-Fiqh called Battamiz here. I just use it. Anyways, tayyib. We'll go to the next hadith and we'll explain about some of the characteristics of the Imam. Hadith number 327. وعن ابن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يؤم القوم أقرأهم لكتاب الله تعالى فإن كانوا في القراءة سواء فعلوهم بسنة فإن كانوا في سنة سواء فأكتبهم حجرة فإن كانوا في الحجرة سواء فأقدمهم سلما وفي رواية سنة ولا يؤمن الرجل في سلطانه ولا يقعد في بيته على تكريمته إلا بإذنه رواه مسلم. Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that يَأُمُّ الْقَوْمَ, let the person who recites the Quran, lead the prayers. Here it is mentioned أقرأهم, not حفظ, يعني حفظ. The one talks about the one who recites good. The previous hadith says the one who has more knowledge about the Quran, yani the more who has memorized the Quran. Yet this hadith says the one who recites the Quran. So what is the difference? Now, for example, there is a person who has memorized the Quran. Then another person, this person has memorized 5 ajza. There is another person who has memorized 10 ajza. Okay, who is better now? The one who memorized 10. But the one who memorized 10 ajza, his recitation was not good. His tajweed is not good. But the one who memorized 5 ajza, his tajweed is good. Now, whom do you like to lead the prayers? The one who knows the rules and regulations. That is one thing. A person, it is not about how much memorized you have, how much Quran you have memorized. It's all about how much you are good in that. Number one. Number two, if there are 2 people who has memorized complete Quran and this person who's memorized complete Quran. Okay. Now who will lead these prayers? The one who has, number one, ajwadu bil qira'ah, the one who has beautiful recitation. Got my point? Now this person is memorized Quran, he is also memorized Quran, and both have beautiful voice. Who leads the prayer? The one who has knowledge, the one who has more knowledge about the prayers. He will lead the prayer. Now there is two people, who is Hafiz, whose recitation is also good, and whose ilm is also same. And who will lead the prayers? The one who is elder in age will lead the prayers. Now both are memorized, both are good in recitation, both are having similar knowledge, and both are same age. Then who will lead the prayer? The one who made hijrah first. The one who made hijrah. Hijrah, you know what is the meaning of hijrah? Migration from Makki to Medina. From Makki to Medina, hijrah. Okay? That person will lead the prayers. For example, one person embraced Islam 5 years before, another one embraced Islam 5 years later. Who precedes in amal? Who precedes in more good deeds? The one who embraced before. So hijrah will make that person better than the one who embraced Islam later. So when we say hijrah, it's a migration from the land of Kufr to the land of Islam. We know that. So here, some of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that there is no hijrah till the day of judgment. This is one hadith. That means hijrah of the people of Makkah after Fatul Makkah, there is no hijrah, because now Makkah is a Muslim land. It is for them. But otherwise hijrah exists. Now you can go to this place to another place, and you have all the qualities. Then you have more deserving to lead the jama'ah than a person who did not make hijrah. Is it clear now? So these are some of the rules that you have to keep in the mind. What if they made hijrah altogether? Hijrah altogether, Hafiz, and the one who recites is good, and the one who is of same age, the one who has same knowledge, and the one who made hijrah, both of them made hijrah together. Now who will lead the prayers? The one who has Ashrafun Nasl from the Quraysh, for example, he will lead the prayers. You got my point? He will lead the prayers. So these are the things that you have to keep in the mind when it comes to leading the jama'ah. All these things what I mentioned here is mustahab. It is mustahab. Got my point? Now we will go to the second wordings and we will understand much better. وَلَا يَؤُمَّنَّ رَجُلُ الرَّجُلَ فِي سُلْطَانِهِ. Now a masjid is been appointed imam. Okay? And the imam, he don't have much knowledge. He is memorized Quran. He is not like how the other person is in knowledge and taqwa and other things. Who has more right to lead the prayers? The one who has been appointed. The one who has been appointed. You can't come. For example, a person, imam is leading. Imam is a normal person. There comes Imam al-Haramain, for example. The Imam of the Haram, Makkah and Medina. Even he do not have right to take the place of the Imam who has been appointed, except with his permission. Very clear. If he lead the prayers, ulama they say the salah is invalid. The salah is invalid. Another example, if you see olden days, during the Khilafah of Umayyah and Abbasiyah, some people who are fasiq and fajr, the one who sinners, the one who kills Muslims, they used to lead the prayers. Some of the ulama are of the opinion that if that person leads the prayer, the salah is invalid. This is the opinion of Hanabila. But Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah, he says that salah is valid but it is disliked. Some of the ulama, they say salah is valid. For example, Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Hajjaj bin Yusuf was one of the governors during time of Umayyah, who used to kill many Muslims. He is the one who killed Abdullah bin Zubayr radiallahu anhu. He is the one who went to Asma radiallahu anha, Asma bin Abi Bakr radiallahu anha, and warned her. He told, I will drag you with the hair outside. Hajjaj bin Yusuf. He is the one who killed Sa'id bin Jubair, and he was a governor, and he used to lead the prayers in the masjid. And people behind him like Abdullah bin Abbas, Abdullah bin Umar, Abdullah bin Masud used to pray behind him. So salah of a fasiq is fine, absolutely no problem. There is a principle in usul al-fiqh. This principle is man sahhat salatahu sahhat imamatahu. This is a principle. Whoever has made his prayer correct, then his imamah, leading the prayer, is also correct. So it doesn't differentiate between whether who leads the prayer. As long as he is a Muslim, as long as he worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether he is an open sinner or sinning or however it is, if he leads the prayer, you can pray behind him, absolutely no problem, inshallah ta'ala. But Imam cannot be a kafir, Imam cannot be a mushrik, Imam cannot be a Imam cannot be a woman. A woman cannot lead the jama'ah for the men. A disbeliever cannot lead the jama'ah for the believers. A mushrik cannot lead the jama'ah for the believers. Women can lead the jama'ah for the women. Men can lead for jama'ah for the woman, only women. But women cannot lead jama'ah for the men, no matter what. No matter what, the salah will be invalid, inshallah ta'ala. So if there is sultan, if there is a king, if there is an authority who is leading the prayers, nobody has the authority to go and take his place. Am I clear about this now? This is very important. For example, sometimes what happens is salah time starts. That salah time starts and people are like, get up and pray, lead the prayers, get him, lead the prayers. Imam is going to come, let's wait for the imam, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. If he doesn't come, then we can lead the prayers. Or if the imam has appointed you, if he says that, I'll come at this particular time. If I do not come, then you lead the prayers. He appoints somebody to lead the prayer. Who has the right to lead the prayers now? That person has the right to lead the prayers. Nobody has right to come and lead the prayers. So these are the things which shows the discipline in the religion of Islam, which shows the kind of manners in the religion of Islam, which shows there is always the leadership in the religion of Islam. Now, further, وَلَا يَقْعُدُ فِي بَيْتِهِ عَلَى تَكْرِيمَتِهِ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. Another example, Allahu Akbar. For example, if you go to a house, somebody called you for food, okay, and you went to that house, and there are no masajids around. So who has a right to be imam in that masjid? The one who is the whole owner of the masjid. You can't go and say that, I'm an alim, I'm a Makki, I'm a Madani, and you are nothing, I will lead the prayers. You can't say this. But if he permits you to lead the prayers, then you can lead. But otherwise you can't lead the prayers. Another example from the adab is that when you go to another house, you can't sit in his place. For example, when you go to the house, you should ask permission, where should I sit? You can't go and sit wherever you want. You should ask, where should I sit? If he says go and sit there, you should sit there. You can't go and sit in his place wherever he wants. During the olden days, certain people has the authority, caliber and power. They have certain seats. You go and sit in his place. For example, you go to the court and you find the king's chair there, and you go and sit on the king's chair. What happens to you? Then you will not have a chair in the jail. That is what happens. So everybody has got their place, and the right of that person is more right, and you can't take that place in the house even. So you need to ask permission. You can't go and sit. This does not apply only for the guests. This even apply for the family members. For example, you go to the house and you know that your father only sits in this particular place. Your mother sits in that place. Is it clear? You can't go and occupy that place except with his permission. Etiquettes, adab, manners. Some people, they come, relatives. They won't see, there is an elderly person in the house, or they won't say, okay, somebody is coming inside. They will sit. And who are they? Youngsters. Wallahi, I have seen with my own eyes. They do not have manners at all. If somebody elder comes, you have to get up and give their seat to them. But they will be sitting, continuously sitting. Yes or no? They continuously sit. This is not from the akhlaqul muslimin. You have to get up and give the seat. And that seat belongs to that person. You have no right to occupy that place. When this is the case with the place where you want sitting, what about the imamah? That's the example Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given here. So Islam is all about manners, and manners are not inherited. You can't inherit your manners from your father and mother, wife, children. Manners are learnt. Manners are learnt. So learn the manners from hadith and Quran, from being with the ulama, being with the elderly people. Sometimes, elderly people have a lot of manners. They might not be having a lot of knowledge, but they have manners. The knowledgeable people, elderly people, keep accompanying them and learn manners from them. Learn manners from them. SubhanAllah, when I used to work in the fatwa center in the Masjid-e Haram, we used to learn the fiqh, we used to learn the hadith, we used to learn many things, but we do not know how to apply those things when it comes to manners. So we learned many manners from the muftis of Haram and the mashaykhs of the Haram, as to how to answer the people. Different people used to come and ask questions. They used to answer in different ways, and that's a manner that you learn. So wherever you are, with whomever you are, always learn something good from them, inshallah ta'ala, and try to apply that. Not necessarily it has to be in Quran and Sunnah. There are many things culturally also you can learn. There are many things urf wise you can learn, and obviously Islam has laid many foundations for us. Let us learn all these things and make us as a person who is recognized as manners, inshallah ta'ala. Now we'll stop here. We'll continue in next class. There are any questions, inshallah ta'ala, we'll take in our next class, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu fi. Any questions online? Yeah. If the two people are praying in Jama'ah, oh, that's a very interesting question. The question is that if the two people praying in the Jama'ah, if a person is leading and a person is standing there, so the one who joins, he will not pull him. He should not pull him. Rather, he just, tap him, he'll automatically come back, inshallah. If it doesn't come back, don't pull him back. Rather, go and stand at the left side of the Imam. The one will be right side, one person standing, you go and stand at the left side of the Imam. So one of the things that we need to understand here is that it is not necessary that Imam has to be front. That is from the Sunnah. Imam can be along with you in the line, but Imam will be a step ahead, so that you will not cross him, inshallah ta'ala. So do not pull him back. That's one thing you need to keep in the mind. Yeah. Sorry? Yeah. Okay. If you are praying in the question here is that if you are praying in the office, there is in some in some companies there are certain places where there is a designated area for the prayers. So should we give adhan? No problem. Even without adhan, absolutely no problem. But giving adhan is afdal, because the Jama'ah is established there, inshallah ta'ala. Not necessarily that you have to give adhan 10 minutes before, 15 minutes before, just 1-2 minutes before the Jama'ah starts, you can give adhan and you can pray, inshallah ta'ala. That is much afdal. Even if you are praying alone, it is afdal to give adhan, but not wajib. But that case, it is much more preferable to give adhan in that particular place. But if there is restrictions in the company, because there are non-Muslims around, there are different kinds of people around, so do not raise your voice and make it lighter, so that it will not cause any inconvenience for the people, inshallah. So we have to keep these things in the mind. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah, Abdul. Yeah. Hadith number 320. Okay, if you want me to explain? Okay, Imam is sick. Now, number one, if the Imam is sick, he comes to the masjid. Not Imam is sick, for example. If the Imam is standing and praying, all the people behind will be standing and praying. Number one. If the Imam sits and pray because of sickness, all the people will behind will be sitting and praying. If the Imam starts the salah standing and in between he becomes tired or sick, he sits, the people will continue standing and praying. Is it clear? Yeah. As the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another benefit which I forgot to mention is that obviously the Imam is sick, so he can't be louder. So there is this Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu standing besides Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So whenever Rasulullah Allahu Akbar, Abu Bakr used to say Allahu Akbar loudly, and the one behind him used to say Allahu Akbar. So one person will be appointed by Imam, or otherwise, which is understood, they can make takbir in the prayer, so that there are rows which are behind the Imam will understand that Imam has gone to ruku or sujud, whatever it is. Another benefit which I forgot to mention. Anything else? Any questions here? Yeah. Adhan is, see, the salah, adhan is something legislated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has to be given. But in order, for the salah to be accepted, adhan is not obligatory. You got my point? But the adhan is, in its place, it is obligatory. But for the salah to be valid, it can be without adhan or with adhan. Got my point? That's it, inshallah. Avoiding, no, we can't avoid the adhan. You can reduce the sound or speakers, whatever it is. Wallahi, when I was taking some of the class in Makkah, some people used to ask me about adhan, and I used to tell them, this was in 2019, many years back. I advised many people that do not raise the microphones in the masajids, causing inconvenience for the people, because there are non-Muslims who are staying around. Many of them will not like it. 2019 to 18 I told this when I was teaching Zad al-Mustaqni in Makkah. Subhanallah. So people did not take it seriously. Now what happened? Automatically the kuffar is coming and telling us, reduce the adhan, reduce the volume. And some of the countries, you can't give adhan openly. Now Fajr, you can't give adhan openly. And other timings of the prayers, you can't give loudly. What happens if you do not follow this Quran and Sunnah? What happens? They will become a punishment upon us. Who? The kuffar becomes a punishment upon us. Yeah. So adhan, it has to be reduced or lightened. That is much better. Wallahi, before I accepted Islam, I used to hate people giving adhan in the Fajr. I used to watch these people screaming in the Fajr. So disturbance. What is this? And that too, adhan will not be beautiful on top of that. Some of the muaddin, they don't give proper adhan also properly. I used to detest, and I used to get angry with these Muslims. They can't understand. They give louder, people are sleeping. Later Allah subhanahu guided me, so that's a different story altogether later. But then we need to keep in the mind that we are living in the mixed society. We need to take care of them. Yeah. Sorry? At home. If you are praying at home, adhan is not required there. No. Iqama is enough, inshallah. Yeah.
But on the previous classes, the Fajr and Isha prayers, it's better if it is long.
Better. One thing we need to understand, we have studied in the description of this. The question here is that, the question asked by brother here, Barakallahu Feek, the question here is, just now we studied that, making the prayers lighter is much better than making the salah longer. But in the previous hadith we have discussed that Fajr and the Isha is shorter actually. Fajr, mainly Fajr is longer. So it's not that longer where people get tired. It's mustahab. It is mustahab to recite those verses in the Fajr. One thing what we have to understand is that even if you do not recite any surah after Surah Al-Fatiha, your salah is absolutely valid. So there is no question of being obligatory there, isn't it? So you can make even one line or one surah, small surah, or even Kul Hu Allahu Ahad, which is the shortest one, you can recite and lead the praise, absolutely no problem. But is afdal is to recite a little longer, because the angels are witnessing your prayers, and that particular time is a time where, you know, people do not have any haja, you know what you say, they are not in need of anything. People are free generally. People are generally free during the Fajr time. It's only after the Fajr people will become busy. So you have to keep these things also in the mind, inshallah. So it is mustahab just to recite longer, inshallah. Yeah.
If there is someone who is, we had the preference for who should lead the prayer, right? If there is a person who has of lesser preference and they come ahead to lead the prayer, so the people behind, they like, you know, pull him back and tell someone else to go ahead. If someone is already in front and they have gone to lead the prayer, but they are not of a higher preference, so the people behind, they, you know, set someone else.
Yeah. Are you talking in the masjid or generally some other places? There is something, you know, a natural instinct of human beings, you know, like natural behavior of human being is that if you, for example, we are going for an excursion somewhere, okay, picnic or any picnic somewhere. So we know that this particular person deserves to lead the Jama'ah. Automatically that comes in the mind. Okay. But sometimes what happens, we are unknown. Sometimes what happens is nobody knows each other. We just got introduced. So one person goes ahead to lead the prayers. Since he stood there, pulling him back, it is not from the akhlaq. It is not from the akhlaq. So let him lead the prayers as long as he is a Muslim, alhamdulillah. Is it clear? No. No more questions, inshallah. We'll conclude the class. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبارك الله فيكم وجزاكم الله خير. See you next week. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.